Sam Lotu-Iiga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in late February 2011, I attended the funeral of Private Kirifi Miller in South Auckland. He was a member of the Royal New Zealand Infantry Regiment, sir. And like me, he was born in Samoa, and like me, he came to New Zealand for a better life. But unlike me, he will not see a long life in this country, because Private Miller gave his life for his country in service of our people here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. And like thousands of others who've given service to this country, this bill is a recognition of the great debt that we owe to our veterans across this country. And this national-led government is committed to honouring the service not just of those that have passed away in the service of our country, but also those who survive in the service of our country. And the Veteran Support Bill, sir, enables the government to better meet the needs of both older veterans who require that assistance, as the Minister has pointed out, and as the Honourable Member Phil Goff has pointed out, who require assistance to remain in their homes, and veterans of modern day developments. Sir, this is a $60 million package to support new legislation. It's part of a package that increases war disablement and surviving spouse pensions by 5% this year, on top of inflation. And we've got a proud history, and both speakers have already alluded to the recognition of our not just our fallen servicemen and women, but also those who've survived those rather tragic events in our history, but ones that we are proud of. And we recognise them through our museums, we recognise them through our RSAs, which many of us are members of. We recognise them through my gym, which is a war memorial gym. And on Anzac Day, we all celebrate those very touching moments, the reflections of the history and the tradition of this country. And again, I say we owe a great deal, a debt to our veterans. So, sir, as the Minister's already pointed out, this was referred to the Law Commission for a review. And the forward to the findings of that review stated quite clearly that the War Pension Act 1954 was outdated. It was unwieldy. It no longer fitted the times or the needs of veterans it was intended to serve. So this bill, sir, aims to reform some of the measures that were taken many decades ago. It's all-encompassing, sir. It covers under the two schemes which the Minister Woodhouse has so articulated. He articulated in his speech in terms of access to medical treatment and rehabilitation for accepted conditions. Sir, I just want to acknowledge Margaret Burke, who is a woman who's tirelessly fought for this bill in my electorate of Maungakiekie. I want to acknowledge the presidents of my RSAs, Tom Kerr in Onehunga, as well as Leon Matthews and Pan Muir in Mount Wellington. Those that have, talked to me as I've been an MP about the need to reform this area. And for those that are listening and watching out there, I salute you and all the other RSA people that and returned service men and women who have advocated for this bill. Sir, it contains many of the same provisions of the current Act, but the service eligibility criteria will remain the same, and all veterans currently covered under the current Act will have coverage under this new legislation. So we're talking about more than 20,000 modern Defence Force personnel who are now veterans, and all of them need that support as veterans. And Prime Minister and I and Phil Goff were also at the opening of the Ranfurly units. Again, another example of how we salute and recognise those that have returned from service overseas. And that development, I think, is a shining example of what we can do, not just through legislation, but also what we can do in our communities when the resources are put to looking after those returned servicemen and women. Sir, I'm proud of this comprehensive package. I, like the Minister, look forward to the Select Committee deliberations because it does honour a group in our society who have given much, and their families I might add, given much sacrifice and commitment to those of us who can enjoy the freedoms and liberties of our current state. Sir, I commend this bill to the House.
I call Ian Lees-Galloway.
Speaker, it's impossible when discussing anything to do with the Defence Force or veterans in this chamber not to recognise